Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to this series of tutorials on food delivery app with React Native and Firebase. In video number 2, we did begin coding this application, and if it's your first time to watch this video, I will recommend you to watch video number 1. In that video, I've given an overview of what we're going to build. I've shown exactly what this app is about, the features and everything that we will be building in this series of tutorials. Without wasting any time, we will begin coding. We will proceed, or we will continue from where we left in video number 2. What we're building is the login screen. This is this authentication screen. We did complete the header in the previous video, and because it was getting too long, I did have to stop it and record a new video to continue from where we left. So I won't give a complete recap from what we've done in the previous video. As I said, I will also leave the links below this video so you can open them and look at what we have done before. But today we will continue where we left from last time. I assume you have your project running. In my case, I'm going to also run my project by typing npx React Native run Android, and this will begin building my project. I'm going to pause the video and resume as soon as my build is complete. Awesome, my project is successfully built. So I think on your emulator you should have this as well. You have a header with a back arrow as well as a title. So I want you to go to your header.js file. You open it. There's one more thing that I want us to do before we continue. I want to make this header as flexible as possible. So instead of putting this string here, I want us to pass this data dynamically. You're gonna put title there, open your bracket, title, and no, sorry, not title. You can put it type, and go here and also pass this type and save. So that arrow will disappear for now, and whenever we call this header component, we should also pass the type property. For example, we're calling it in the app.js file. We can now do again type. We pass a string to it. You can put arrow. What I've pasted there, you can type that as well, and then save. Then it should behave, or it should look what it was before. So I think yes, now you have our header fully customizable. So if we want to use this header in another screen where we have different types of icon here, we can simply pass the type of icons or the name, and then we're gonna have a different icon. We don't have to redesign the same component over and over. And this is one of the benefits of React Native, is that you can build small components which you can use throughout your application without repeating your code. Now we're going to the screen folder. Inside the screens folder, I want you to create another folder. You call it auth screens, and inside this auth screens, I want you to create a file Sorry, I think I made a mistake in here. It's supposed to be a folder, not a file. New folder, hot screens, and inside your hot screen I want you to create sign in screen .js, and inside this sign in screen I don't want to repeat myself. You can just copy all these components which you have imported in our header component. You can copy all this and paste them on top of your sign in screen.js file, because you know that most of these things we're going to be using them in this component as well. And then I want you to create a functional component called export function sign in screen. I want to export it as default. You can put export default, and we need to retain some JSX, then we can retain view, and I want us to create some style sheet, const styles equal style sheet dot create. We're gonna create a style sheet, pass an object to it, and the face we're gonna say container. We give it a flex of 1, and that should be it for now. And I want you to go to your to your view, first styles dot container, and I want you to go to your app.js file and cut this header component. So you're removing the header component because the header component is not supposed to be in the app.js file. So we're going to put it inside the sign in screen. So I've cut that from here. I'm going to paste it in the sign in screen. I'll paste it there. You can also go back there, and I'm going to delete this, or you can cut it as well and paste it on top, and paste it somewhere just below your icon, your React Native element. And now we're importing it from a different file, so we need to change the import. So in this case we're gonna remove that. We should put two dot, because now we need to get out of this folder and then go to the component folder, and I'm going to save this. I'm also going to save this. For now our thing will be empty. Now we need to import this screen to our app.js instead. So I'm gonna import sign in screen from source screens and sign in screen, hot screens. Let's save that. It's giving us some error. I think maybe I've imported something wrong. Okay, I see what the problem is. I can see what the problem is. The import is wrong. I need to get out of the folder twice because I'm inside the hot screens. So I should get out of this folder twice, and then components and header. I think this should solve the problem. Let's save and see. Okay, it still says there's a problem. It says none of these files exist. The import also inside the app.js is mistaken. I must also include the sign-in screen. So I have to, because I didn't export it from an index file, so I have to specify the actual screen where it's gonna be imported, and I can save that. Let's see, that should solve the problem. We're still having the problem again. No, the problem is solved. So just make sure you're importing from sign-in screen, because it's not from an index.js file. So you should specify the screen where you're importing from. And let's call this component now. Sign-in screen. And this should have our header now also. Awesome. So now that we have the header, I want us to begin building the sign-in screen. The next thing that we have to quickly do is we need to create all these components on this screen. The first one gonna be sign-in text. So this will be just underneath the header. I can create a view and text component, call it sign in. And I want to create a style for it. Style equal, and I say title. And this will be a global style, because this style we're gonna be using it in different screen. For example, you have sign in screen here. You're gonna see that if you go to create an account, we have the same style on sign up screen. So instead of repeating myself in all these screens, I'm gonna create a global style. I will go to the global folder, into my style file. I'll create a title style. Sorry, create export const, call it title. It's gonna be an object, and the props, the first one will be the color. I'll give it the color of instead of typing all this, let me copy and paste so that we don't have to waste a lot of time. You can simply pause the video on your side to type what I'm gonna be pasting here. Yeah, there's a problem. I did type this wrong. Text one, it's not T1, supposed to be text. Text one, and let me keep this gray to 3, because I think this is the right color. And let's save. Okay, can see now we have this text into some grayish. So, and I want to duplicate this. I'm just gonna copy it and paste it. And instead of password, we're going to put, let's see what's the next text. First, registered with your account. So in this one, I'm going to put registered. With your account. And I want to pass some styles. I want to align this text. Using align items to pass center. Okay, and Let pass is margin of 10, margin top, we say 10. Awesome, this looks good. Now we're going to create a text input. We're quickly going to create a text input, and I want you to open another view. Inside this view, I want you to create another view, and here you call text input. I assume it's imported already. Let me just double check. So we need to import text input from React Native. Text input, make sure that is imported, then we're gonna call that component in here, text input, and close the tag. And we're gonna have to create some styles for this text input, and I'm going to simply paste some styles, and then you're gonna pause the video and type them. There's text input 1 that I want to create here, and text input 2. So these are the styles. You can pause the video and type these styles as well in your style sheet, and go back to your text input and pass the style props the following: style equal to styles dot text input 1, and going also to pass the placeholder. Gonna pass it, the first one is email, and let's go back to our app and see. I'm going to save this. Okay, we have our text input, the first one, and let's open give some styles just to give it some margin. Going to say styles margin top, we can give it 20. We can give it 20 is fine. Then we're going to create the second text input. Open another view. Sorry, I think I'm typing this wrong. View, and instead of wasting time, let me copy this and paste it here as well for the second text input. And instead of email, we're going to put password. And instead of text, going to put 2. And the other thing that I want to do is, okay, first let me save this and let's see what happens. You have the second text input, we have email, we have password, but now you can see this email is too close to the border, so I want to push it inside as well as the password. So I want you to scroll to your styles and pass some padding left. Text input 1, padding left, I'm going to give it 15. The same for text input 2, padding left, going to give it 15 as well, so that the placeholder is kind of pushed inside. Let's see what it gives. Okay, this looks now much better. So we have some padding at the left of each placeholder. let me open the actual app. Now what we're going to implement, if you see on text input 2, if I click, you're gonna see the two icon, the log as well as the hide text icon. They will be animated from left. You can see that whenever I click on it, the text gets animated from left. So we're going to implement this functionality as well to get these animations of icons inside our text input. So to do that, in the previous in tutorial number 2, we did install React Native Animatable. So we're going to make use of React Native Animatable. The first thing that we're gonna do is that go to your text input number 2. Instead of having just view, we must import the our animatable library. Just gonna say import it from there. Can import start to get to make sure you have the latest version is animatable from React Native Animatable. So if you have imported that, then go to your text input 2, and we have to change all this view to animatable views. So we're gonna put animatable dot view. The same for this one, animatable dot view, and we're going to save that. And I want you to see what I'm going to do, because what we're animating is the icons. So I want you to duplicate this animatable view, copy and paste. You paste that there, and I want you to wrap all these two animatable views inside a single view. So go on top there, open a view, and wrap it around these two animatable dot view. You can delete this and close the view tag after. Yes, and I want you to delete all this password text input, this one inside this, and delete as well this one. Okay, and inside this view, pass the style, and we're gonna say styles dot text input 2, because what we're trying to do is we want to kind of imitate a view, a text input with a view, but in the essence we're not going to be having a text input, and then after that we're going to put a text input without the borders. And you can save that for now. Let's see what happens. I'm going to my emulator. So now you have this. That's fine, you don't have to panic. Now what we're going to do is, in between this animatable text view, see we have two animatable text view. In between them, we're going to put a text input component. So you can copy that one from there so that we don't have to retype. And then instead of email, say password, and for now we don't need this style. Can just delete it for now, and let's save. Okay, now we have that text input in between the two animatable view. Now inside these two animatable views, we're going to animate the icons. So this is the purpose of having this animatable view, is to be able to animate icons inside them. So I assume that you have icon imported from React Native element, so you can come and import icon and then close the tag. And then inside these icons we're going to pass some props. The first one is gonna be the name, the first one name, and this will be loc. And then we also need to pass the type. Okay, before even passing the type, let's pass the color. Icon style equal, it's gonna be an object of styles, and we pass the color property. We say colors dot gray, can take 3, and we need also to pass the type. We can say material, and let's save and see what we'll have here. Okay, we have that log there. I want you to copy this icon as well. You can copy it and paste it in the second animatable view, which is at the bottom. I'm going to paste it. Going to paste it here. And instead of log, here we're going to put visibility of. Visibility of, and let's save and see what happens. Now we have the second icon as well inside our text input, and we need to pass some styles to this text input. Now we're going to say style, to pass it the width, we can say 80%. Okay, you can see that I shifted the password to the left, and apart from that, I'm going to say give some styles on this one. It's gonna be an object, and I say margin right, I'm gonna pass 10. Let's see what happens at right of this icon. Okay, this looks good. And also we can pass another style to this one as well. Margin left. Okay, this one I think it's fine already. We don't have to pass any margin because I can see the look is okay. We can simply save this. Now when clicking on this, it's not animating anything, so we need now to work on the animation. And in order to create the animation, we need to create some state. You must import some hooks. The first one gonna be from of course it's from React. We're gonna use state. So this will give us the state of our text input. We also gonna import useRef. This will help us reference which text input we're referring to. I think these are the two hooks that we're going to need, and we need to create the reference for each of our text input. So you can go on top of your functional component, and we're first gonna create some state. And the first one say const text input to forecast. I'm gonna say set text input to forecast, and the initial state we'll say is false. And then we need to create some references for our text input. The first one is gonna be const text input 1 equal to useRef. We pass 1 to it. Then also create another reference text input to useRef. We pass 2. And now we must scroll down to our text input component. We go to text input 1. We say ref is equal to, we say text input 1. We also go down to text input 2. We'll say ref equal to text input 2. Now we're gonna have to listen to some events that's happening on our component. For example, we need to be able to know when our text input is focused and when it is blurred. So to achieve this, we're going to use some event listeners. We're going to say first of all on focused. On focus, you need to do something. And what we're going to do when our text input is focused, we're going to say set text input to focused to false. And the other one that we're gonna be listening to it on blur, we say if our text input is blurred, then we say set text input to forecast to true. And now we can try to animate our icons. You go to animatable.view They should be able to accept now some props. The first one's animation. So what we'll say animation equal to, we will say is text input to forecast. If this is true, we will simply do nothing. And if this is true, we do nothing. And if this is false, we will then pass some props to this animation, and the animation type will be fade in from left, which is fade in left. And also we can pass another prop to this animatable.view, which is the duration. This will be the duration of the animation. Sorry, I'm putting this inside. This should be outside this. Let me delete this part. Have to make sure it's outside the animation. So it's gonna be duration. We pass to it the duration. Let's keep it 400. And let me save and see what happens. You can see the animation is working for the icon at the right. So when it's blade is nothing, and when you can see that if I blur it, there's nothing happening, and when I focus on it, the right hand side icon animate from left to right. When I come back to it, it will animate again. If I go back, come back, you can see that animation is now working. You're going to do the same thing for this lock icon. What you can do, you can simply copy what we've typed on this view, animatable.view, copy it and paste it as well in this animatable.view. Just need to have a space in between. Okay. Now I'm going to save. So this will now animate both icons at the same time. So if I click there, you can see now both icons animating from left to right. So you've done this. Now we need to continue with the rest of the component on this screen. But for now I'm going to end this video because it's getting too long, and we will continue in the next video that will be uploaded soon. So thank you for watching, and if you're not subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button, and until then, keep safe and hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.